Hello children, welcome to our vision classes with me, your English faculty, Piyali Das. So children, we are aware that NCERT has launched this new book as a curriculum for 2026 and 27 for class 9, and that is Kaveri textbook. So Kaveri will be your English textbook, the main textbook as of now. So here I have brought to you a topic, and it's a very interesting topic. I've picked up one of my favorite poem from this textbook, that is I Cannot Remember My Mother, which is written by Rabindranath Tagore, the famous poet we are all aware of. So in this chapter, we will learn line by line, stanza by stanza, the meaning of the poem, what is the summary, and what is poet trying to tell you about. Before that, we'll read in brief about the poet himself. Who is he and what is his achievements are. All right, so let's move to our classes. Okay, so this poem, I Cannot Remember My Mother, is written by poet Rabindranath Tagore, right? So Rabindranath is the famous Indian poet. He is first Asian to win Nobel Prize in Literature, which is a very highest literary award, and he's the first Asian to win it. He's known for emotional philosophical writing. His poems often explore human feelings and relationship. So Rabindranath Tagore is very famous. If you come across his poem or writings, he has often expressed his feeling in a very grateful and in a gratitude way. So one of his achievements is that his poem has a very emotional touch. Once when you are reading this poem, you will feel very emotionally attached to the poet itself. He's trying to give you a lesson on his life and the surroundings and the nature itself. So he's very philosophical person. Let us read the poem. I have curated this poem stanza by stanza for you to understand what each stanza in this poem means. This poem is particularly divided into 3 stanzas. So let us understand. So the first stanza reads, I cannot remember my mother. Only sometimes in the midst of my play, a tune seems to hover over my playthings. The tune of some song that she used to hum while rocking my cradle. So this is the first stanza of the poem. The poet is trying to tell us of a vivid memory that he feels of his mother. The poet does not remember his mother. He cannot remember his mother. And the reason are because maybe while he was young, his mother passed away. So he does not have a very visual entity or a very visual memory of his mother. He can only remember his mother through some essence or maybe some memory that is lingering over his head. All right. So let us understand the basic meaning of the first stanza. So in the first stanza, the poet is focusing on the line. The first line reads itself that I cannot remember my mother. The poet is trying to convey us that he has no visual memory, no memory of his mother. All right. So he is expressing that he cannot clearly remember his mother, which is obvious by the first line or the first sentence of the poem itself, right? So as I've already stated that this suggests that maybe or probably the poet's mother passed away at a very young age, correct? So this suggests she may have passed away when he was very young, and therefore his memory of her face or presence is not clear to him. He does not remember his mother. There could be an instance that probably he doesn't even have a photo or an image of his mother. So his mother's essence, he can only feel his mother's essence through memory. So maybe through few instances. That is what he is trying to convey through the first few stanza. Right? Now, however, as in the second stanza, he has already written that only sometimes in the midst of the play, a tune seems to hover over my playthings. That means he cannot remember his mother, but the memories come back in flashes when he is playing. While he was young, he was playing, maybe he is playing with his toys. He can remember his mother's memories through flashes, through a tune or a lullaby that his mother used to sing. A lullaby is basically a song, a sweet song that mothers sing to cradle their children to sleep. So, probably the poet is trying to remember his mother's memories through this particular song, this sweet song that his mother used to hum or sing to him, right? So, the second stanza states that, however, even though he cannot remember her directly, her present comes back to him in unexpected ways. What do we mean by unexpected ways? When we talk about unexpected ways, that means he's talking about the flashes of memory. The flashes of memory by unexpected way, he means that while he is playing, while he is playing, while he is playing. So while he is playing, these memories come back to him in a very unexpected way. So what is the unexpected way the memories come back to him? Is in the form of soft tune or melody suddenly seems to surround him. That means he is remembering his mother through a soft tune, or maybe through a soft lullaby that his mother used to sing while he was very young. So he's remembering these things while playing with his toy. So how he is remembering, how does the memory come back in flashes? In the form of soft tune or by lullaby or through lullaby. And as I've already said, the meaning of lullaby is a soft song that mothers sing to their children while cradling back them to their sleep, right? So this tune reminds him of the song his mother used to hum or sing to him, possibly lullabies, all right? So in this form, by this we can understand that though he does not have a picturestic view of his mother, he does not have an image or a visual memory of his mother, he can remember his mother through a song or through a soft lullaby that his mother used to sing to him. Now, imagine this. When we are sad or when we are upset, we usually incline towards music, right? We usually try to listen to music or songs, or maybe watch TV or do something that makes us happy, that cheers us up, right? So here as well, though he cannot remember his mother, the poet cannot remember his mother, but he can eventually remember, eventually remember his mother through the songs that his mother used to sing for him. So this song, this music, this soft tune he is talking about is creating a emotional bondage between the mother and the child. He still have her in his memory through this music or this soft tune, correct? So this shows that first, the child may not remember her physically. Remember her physically? What do we mean by this? We mean that he does not have a image or visual memory of his mother. So we can write no visual memory. Correct? Or maybe no physical touch, right? No touch. So because his mother passed away at a very young age, so he has no idea about how his mother looks or how he wants to imagine his mother. He cannot, because he cannot remember her physically. It is only by memories or by visual flashes. But he remembers her emotionally through sound and feeling. As I've already mentioned, that music has a unique way of creating a bond between individuals, creating a bond between people. So he can remember his mother through sound or the feeling of this music, right? So the key insights, the key takeaway in the first stanza that you need to understand or that will be asked in your question paper, the key instance is that music acts as a memory trigger. He was playing with his toys and it came to him in a very unexpected way. That means music has triggered his memories. He can remember her through music, right? Music triggers memory. Mother's love still exists through images, not through emotions, not images. We are talking about a mother's love, and we know that a mother's love is very unconditional. Mother has a very unconditional kind of love towards her children. So, though there is no visual memory, there is no image, but the bond, the emotional bond, the love that he shares for his mother, that he shares towards his mother, is very exquisite and is very emotional. It has created an emotional bond. So in the first stanza, if we want to summarize, we know that the poet is telling us, the poet is referring that he cannot remember his mother because when he was young, his mother passed away. Second, he says that the memories come back to him in a very unexpected way. By unexpected way, we mean that while he is playing toys or maybe doing something, the memories come back to him in a very unexpected way in the form of a music or maybe a lullaby that his mother used to sing to him while cradling him to sleep. So we understand that music here, his mother's song that she used to hum to him, has created an emotional bond between him and her. He does not require any physical imagination or any physical touch to remember his mother eventually. All right. So we have summarized the first stanza. Initially, what the poet is trying to tell us and what does he mean. Now let's move to the second stanza. I cannot remember my mother, but when in the early autumn morning, the smell of Shiuli flowers float in the air, the scent of the morning service in temples comes to me as a scent of my mother. The poet is again focusing in the first stanza. Remember, there is a repetition of this line, I cannot remember my mother. This line was stated in the first stanza as well. Now in the second stanza, this line is again repeated. By repetition, what we mean is that poet is trying to express his grief very emotionally. He's going through this emotional endurance that is trying to tell us or infer to us repeatedly. So repetition in lines means repetition in lines, right? And what does this mean? It means emotional express of the poet's feelings. He is repeating the lines because he's trying to eventually tell us that yes, I'm feeling emotional. I cannot remember my mother. But then in second stanza, he's telling that these feelings come back in another expected way. In the first stanza, he was referring to the feelings or the memories to the song that his mother used to sing. Now in the second stanza, the poet is trying to tell us that these feelings come in the form of, he can relate these memories with nature. How? when the early autumn morning, but when in the early autumn morning, the smell of Shiuli flowers float in the air. So this is our Shiuli flowers. It is basically a night jasmine. It has a very unique smell. It has a very calm, sweet smell. So the poet can remember that during early autumn morning, all right, when it's not neither cold nor too hot. So during early morning, the smell of these flowers, it bring him the memories of his mother, the scent of morning service in the temple. There, when there is a morning service going on in temple, like the pujas, the arti, it reminds him of a familiar scent, and that scent is of his mother, right? So let us decipher this completely. In this stanza, the poet again repeats that he cannot remember his mother, reinforcing his sense of loss, right? He's trying to tell us repeatedly about his emotional grief, about his loss that he has gone through by losing his mother. The sense of loss, that means he has lost his mother at a very young age. But now, instead of sound, smell becomes the source of memory. So, as I've said, that in the first stanza, the poet has repeatedly talked about this lullaby that his mother used to sing. But in the second stanza, he is focusing on the smell. He is connecting himself with the nature, with a familiar smell that is somewhat similar to the scent of his mother, right? So, he is connecting this smell to the source of memory. In the early autumn morning, the fragrance of Shiuli flowers fill the air, which is already written in the second line of the stanza, right? These flowers, as I've mentioned, Shiuli flowers are they're night jasmine. They're a part of jasmine family itself. I've shown you the pictures. You are already familiar. You can see this flower around the month of October, basically the autumn season in India. You can see it around, the Durga Puja. You're very familiar. In Kolkata as well, this flower is very, it's available widely and it's very familiar. So this flower is very delicate. This flower has a very sweet, unique fragrance. Okay, so this flower is soft and delicate and often associated with calmness and purity, right? As I've already mentioned that these flowers are used during Durga Puja. That means it is used in service in temples during Aarti or Pujas. So the flower is associated with calmness, with purity, right? You have to understand meaning of each word that I'm focusing on. Calmness means you're feeling very serene. Purity, something that is of pure essence. Purity, when I talk about going to temple, maybe you are associating with something which is very pure in nature. So here the poet is trying to associate Shiuli flower with calmness and purity. Along with this, the scent from the morning temple rituals. By morning temple rituals, we mean the puja, the arti that is going on during early hours of service in temple. So the poet is trying to tell us that this gives us a sense of peace, sense of spirituality, right? Sense of peace and spirituality. What do you mean by spirituality? What do you mean by spirituality? See, spirituality doesn't always mean that we believe in God. Spirituality can be something that whenever, for example, when you're listening to a music, you feel calm. You can also associate music with your spiritual values. So here, the sense of smell, the ritual, the morning rituals in temple gives the poet a peace, a sense of peace, a sense of spirituality. And this familiar smell, it reminds him of his mother. Maybe he has a peculiar smell of his mother. Maybe the maybe the perfume that she used, or maybe a general smell of his mother. Okay, so he's trying to remember his mother with that smell, with that peculiar smell, and he's associating it with, number one, first with the autumn, early autumn morning. Then he's associating this smell with the what? With the Shiuli flowers in the autumn morning. Then with the early morning service in temples. So this smell reminds the child of his mother. He feels that the fragrance itself becomes his mother's presence. This fragrance is acting as a bondage between the mother and the child. This fragrance is reminding strongly of his mother. So the fragrance itself becomes his mother's presence. All right? So the calm and sacred environment connects him to her emotionally, right? In the first stanza, he's connecting to her emotionally through music. In the second stanza, he's connecting to his mother emotionally through the scent, through the fragrance. Okay? Key insight: nature becomes a symbol of his mother. The key insight in the first stanza was that music can trigger memories. The key insight, the key takeaway from the second stanza is that the nature is acting as a symbol for remembering his mother, for a memory that he can go through, the familiar scent that he can go through and feel the presence of his mother. Okay, the mother is associated in this stanza. What is the mother associated with? She is associated with purity. By purity, we mean the temple, right? Morning ritual at temple. Ritual at temple. Correct? Then he is associating with peace. By peace, we mean is that, again, temple. Then he's associating it with Shiuli flowers. Shiuli flowers. Shiuli flowers. And then with comfort. By comfort, I mean that the early morning autumn rain, right? Early autumn morning. So, in the second stanza, the poet is associating his mother with a familiar smell that he can feel through the autumn morning, through Shiuli flowers, and through the morning service in the temple. So, the key insight here is that nature is acting as a symbol of his mother. Right? So, this was the meaning of the second stanza. Now, let us move to the third stanza. I cannot remember my mother. Only when from my bedroom window I send my eyes into the blue of the distant sky, I feel that stillness of my mother's gaze on my face has spread all over the sky. This is a very beautiful stanza. A poem actually ends up here, and as you can see, Rabindranath Tagore, the poet, has a very unique way of expressing his feelings. As I've said, he's a philosophical person. He has a very emotional touch to his poem, and this is the way he has finished the poem. It's a very beautiful poem. Here again, he's focusing on the first stanza. He's reminding us that he's still under the emotional grief because there is again the repetition of the line, I cannot remember my mother. He is talking about his bedroom window. When he gazes upon his bedroom window, he can see the vast blue sky, right? He is talking about the blue of a distant sky. Okay, now imagine when you're standing in front of your window and you're viewing the blue sky, the very blue sky. First of all, this color blue is associated with calmness. It's a very beautiful, soft color, correct? And when we talk about the sky, we know that the sky is an infinite thing. You look up, there is sky, there are clouds, and there is no end to it, right? It is spread across the whole earth. So that's how he's saying that he can remember his mother. When he gazes upon his sky, he is actually feeling that he's gazing upon her face, right? It has spread all over the sky. So let us understand what does he mean by this stanza. So in the final stanza, the poet once again says he cannot remember his mother, but he describes a deep emotional experience. When he looks out of his window at the vast blue sky, he feels sense of calmness and silence, right? It's very natural when you go to a very scenic place or when you're just watching the sky. It can be a daylight or it can be a night sky. Whenever you watch a sky, you just feel calm. There is a feeling of serene. It's very beautiful, right? So that feeling is hovering over him whenever he looks at the sky. Here, as I've mentioned, when you look at the sky, you can see the sky is spread across all over the planet. The sky is spread across, there are clouds, it's quite blue out there, right? So the sky is infinite and eternal. These two terms are very important, infinite and eternal. By this he means that his mother's love for him is infinite, right? So he means that his mother's love for him is infinite. There is no condition attached to his mother's love, the love that he shares. Though he does not have a visual memory of his mother, but he can associate with the instant memories that he gets in through flashback. He can associate his mother's memory with the vast sky, the infinite sky, because he feels his mother's love is infinite. His mother's love is not conditional, it's unconditional for him, it's eternal, right? So that's why this sky is representing the feeling. He feels sense of calmness and silence. At that moment, he feels the mother's love is still. It's not going to vanish within time because he has lost his mother at a very young age. So even though he cannot remember his mother's love is still present there. It's peaceful, right? It's peaceful. Surrounding him completely. When we talk about surrounding him completely, there's a term called omnipresent. When we say God is omnipresent, that means God is present everywhere. So it's something surrounding him. His mother's love for him is kind of omnipresent. It's all over him. He can feel his mother's love through instances. Even though she is not physically present, her love feels like it is spread over his heart. That's how he is associating the sky with his mother's love. The sky is vast. Whenever he looks upon the sky, he feels like he's gazing into his mother's face, right? He's gazing over his mother's face. So his mother's love is spread all over his heart, protecting and comforting him. Okay, this love that is present, he can feel it through music. He can feel the essence through the similar fragrance and through the vast sky. It is very comforting to him. It is protecting him, keeping him warm, and always trying to remind him of his mother's love and innocence. So we can understand that being emotionally present for someone has a meaningful weightage over something which is physically present, because you cannot just bond physically with someone, you need to be emotionally present. The memories has to be there for someone to remember the other person, right? So that's how he is remembering his mother. Key insight: what does the sky, since he is talking about sky in the third stanza, what does the sky mean to him? The sky is talking about the endless love, because the sky is infinity. There is no end to the sky. So it symbolizes the endless love, the spiritual presence that I've already told you a word, that is omnipresent, right? So his mother is spiritually, his mother is present all over. His mother's memory is present. It's spread across his heart. So it's spiritually present. The mother's love is invisible but powerful. Same as we say God is omnipresent. God is there, but we cannot see him. He is invisible, but we can feel his presence. So that's how his mother's love is for him. And it is always present. It is protecting him against anything. It is comforting, and it comes back in memories. That's how the poet can remember his mother. So we have actually talked about each stanza, and you've just realized that this poem is very beautiful. This poem is short and sweet, and Rabindranath Tagore is trying to tell us the unique ways he is trying to remember his mother, or he is keeping his mother in his memory, right? First was the song. Second was the familiar of sense, the scent, the familiarity in the fragrance. And the third stanza, where he is comparing his mother's love with the sky. The sky symbolizes the presence and infinite love that his mother shares towards him. Right? So this was a very beautiful poem, and here overall interpretation, since we have already read the complete stanza and understood the complete view of the poem, what is the interpretation of the poem? The child cannot remember his mother's face or voice clearly, because every stanza, in the beginning of every stanza, he has constantly repeated the lines, I cannot remember my mother. But he experiences her through music, right? In the first stanza, fragrance, that is the unique smell, how he is associating, and sky, feeling and imagination of infinity. This shows that love is not limited to memory. That means we can actually feel the love. It's not just limited to memory. It doesn't have to be limited to memory. We can feel it in various ways. Emotional bonds are deep, permanent, and beyond time. Though his mother is not physically present with him, but he shares an emotional bond with his mother, and this emotional bond is actually a deep bond, which is going to be present in his life for throughout his life, is going to give him a sense of feeling that his mother loves him a lot. So this is the overall summary or the overall interpretation of the poem. We have come to the end of the class almost. So before we end the class, here is this beautiful thing that I want to tell you. The poem beautifully shows that even when memories fade, a mother's love continues to live with us, within us, through nature, feelings, and quiet moments of reflection. This is a very insightful thought that you need to remember, that a mother's love is unconditional. We know we all love our mother, and we should be grateful enough as well, because their love for us is very unique. No one can replace a motherly love. So I want to end this class with this beautiful quote, you can say, or with this beautiful feeling. And we have read about the poem, and I hope you really enjoyed the class. We'll definitely continue ahead again, and I'll come up with more interesting chapters. And meanwhile, you can actually go through this new textbook, Kaveri. And before ending this class, I want to tell you a very important thing. We have actually launched batches for a class 9, class 10, and class 8. You can actually find this class in our online app of Vision classes. You can download the app. You can actually view our classes. We have overall everything we have shared, where we will give you mock tests, where there will be an explanation for each classes along with a very defined note, study materials, and a 360 view of the complete course, where you can have a one-to-one interaction, a doubt clearing session with our mentors. So you can, I would love to tell you more about it, and you can go ahead and download this app and get this class over there. You can look at the class, and then if you are willing to join, definitely join us, call us, and we will love to guide you ahead. So I hope you enjoyed this session. Thank you very much. Keep learning, keep growing.